What about self-care and self-love? I'm Cathy Bartulli from the Intimacy Dojo.
I am Dr. Liz from Sex Positive Psych.
I'm Caroline Carrington from Jewel in the Lotus Coaching.
And I'm Yoni Alkan from elementsofsexuality.com.
And no matter what we talk about and all the skills you can have, if you don't have self-love and self-care, it's really hard to implement those things. I know a lot of, techniques to approach people sexually and talk to them, but if I'm feeling really low, if I haven't been taking care of myself, or I'm not loving myself very much, it's going to come across really awkward, or I'm just not going to have the resources to be present with somebody.
I think one of my friends said to me, and I think this has been a big message for me the last several months, we accept the love we think we deserve.
Yeah.
Right? If you feel like you don't deserve anything better than someone who treats you poorly, you're never going to step forward and demand something better. If you don't feel like you deserve someone who treats you really well, who honors your autonomy, who values you, you're not going to find that person. You're going to settle for someone who you think you aren't good enough for them, and they're so much better than you, even when they're not treating you a way that works for you.
I think it's also important to know what you want from yourself and from others, and find your place, find what's good for you and what's not. And in order to do that, you got to try.
Yeah, it's awkward at first. It's like when you haven't done it, it's like trying to lift weights when you haven't lifted weights before. It's like, oh, this is so hard, it's going to take me forever. But a little bit of practice over and over. Oh, wow, I'm beating myself up again. Let me stop. Let me appreciate something about myself. It feels so awkward. And the next time it's a little easier and you actually build neural pathways in your brain.
Right. There's a practice I've actually started in the last few weeks. As opposed to going through the day and thinking about everything that happened, I actually take a couple of minutes before bed and just literally give myself a little pep talk about all the awesome things that I achieved that day, right? And sometimes it is, I slept 8 hours, which is huge, right? Or I ate really healthy, or I got outside and I did some exercise today, or I completed that thing that's been on my to-do list for the last 6 months, whatever it is, but really being very affirming to myself and kind of being my own cheerleader right before bed.
I like that one, and I have to sometimes do small things. Because I'm like, I did not win the Nobel Peace Prize today. Damn it, obviously I failed. No, okay, I was kind to someone. I got that thing done that's been on my list. It only took me 5 minutes, but it's been there for a year. Thank God I got it done. Like the smaller things that we sometimes forget to appreciate.
I think that word kindness is key. Being kind to ourselves and taking ourselves off that perfection pedestal.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things that dancing taught me in my life is the concept of patience, and it's all a process.
Yeah.
These things take time. You can be super talented in dance specifically. You can be super talented and learn everything really quickly. There are things that will not click until you log so and so many dance floor hours. You have to dance and dance and dance and dance until you get it. So that's where I learned that lesson of, I'm in a process. This is where I am right now. I have a long way to go, but I'm happy where I am right now, and knowing that it'll only get better. I need experience. It is really important.
And I fall into this pattern a lot of expecting myself to be better than anyone else. I would never have the same expectations of someone else that I have of myself. Yeah. Because clearly I should be able to establish a highly successful business in less than a year after moving to a new city all the way across the country with no contacts. That's, God, what's wrong with me? Perfectly reasonable, right? And so I think that a lot of times when you're noticing that you're not measuring up, it's time to check those standards. Where did you get those standards from? Are they even realistic? Could anyone meet that standard?
Would you ask your best friend to do the same thing?
Right. If your best friend came to you and said, I feel like such a failure because X, Y, Z, would you look at them like, why? Right?
Yeah. And I think, when you're talking about the awkwardness, I've learned to try to reframe it, because I was brought up with a perfection model. I think we all were, where if we were really good, talented people, it'd be super easy and we just get it instantly. And yeah, there are some things that happens but most things, when we're outside our comfort zone, when we're growing, we're going to be awkward. Yeah. And so it used to be I felt like I was a failure if I felt awkward. And now I try to remind myself, wow, I had courage. I'm doing something that's new to me, that's actually a really good thing. So this awkwardness, even though it feels uncomfortable, is actually a really positive sign that I'm making a difference.
And the reality is, even when you're super talented and you're living out your dream and it's your total passion and you are made for this. I was watching documentaries on Beyonce recently. They took 6 years as Destiny's Child even to get a record deal. 6 years. And then they lost it twice. She spent her whole lifetime working her ass off. And she's like one of the best in the business. She's phenomenal. Naturally talented.
On Facebook, we don't see the struggle.
Right. We miss the struggle.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
We see everyone else's polished, perfected Photoshop lives and compare them to what we know of our reality.
Yeah.
You know, and
comparing our insides to everyone else's outsides.
Comparing your inside life to someone else's outside life. And that's not realistic, right? Even Beyonce isn't Beyonce. Even Kim Kardashian isn't Kim Kardashian, right?
Yeah. And I think that one other thing you can do is find the thing you hate most about yourself and look at it more deeply. For a long time, I was convinced because I was heavier, a big woman, that no one could ever love me. And I've been told that many, many times. And just kind of reconnecting to my body and going, wow, it's pretty amazing. It has more fat cells than Cosmos says I should have. And I still get to love the fact that my body can enjoy pleasure and hug friends. And, there's all these things. When I started connecting with that, the thing that you hate the most, maybe the biggest source of change that you can make when you start looking for things you can appreciate about. And again, you can start really small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we hope this helps.
Yeah.
We'd love to know what you think. What are you struggling with around self-care and self-love? Leave comments below.
Maybe you'll inspire us with your comments.
I'm always looking for new tips.